Hey everybody, this is Coach Craig here to begin what I guess is going to be a series of what they call vlogs. So what I plan on doing is a little bit in regards to training, maybe nutrition tips, racing, pacing, anything that comes to mind that you guys could find beneficial and that you can learn from. This week I've been asked recently about the San Antonio Rock and Roll Marathon that I did just a little under a couple of weeks ago. So I just thought I'd have a couple of minutes to tell you about it. And I don't mean the typical it was hard, it was difficult, that type of thing, because it's hard for everybody, and we go in knowing that. But more, what lessons did I learn, and what can you take away from my race that you could apply to yours? Because every race, it does need to be about learning and getting better each and every time you do it. So the first thing would be, I think, my attitude going in. For the first time in a number of years, really struggling with injuries, and it set back my volume, it set back my intensity, and I went in thinking this race really can't be anything but a disaster. I wasn't prepared. I was a little bit down about it, and I had a bad attitude. And shortly before I left, I was told by someone a lot wiser than me, Craig, do you know that winners treat every race like it's the most important race in the world? I thought, "Hey, that's pretty interesting. It's a good line, actually." And then he said that they also treat it like it might be the last race they ever get to do. And from that moment forward, my attitude completely changed. And I thought, I'm not going all the way down there just to pack it in and jog around there. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to give it a solid effort. So two lines. I was told two simple lines, and it completely changed my attitude and my outlook towards the race to one of competition and intensity again. The second thing was during the course, I had a plan of taking all of my calories in this flask right here, and every 5 kilometers, swig, 10 kilometers, swig, 15 kilometers, swig. The first two times it worked quite wonderful. At the 15-kilometer mark, I go to give myself some and it's empty. I didn't close it. So that's a lesson to be learned right there. Close your lid if this is what you're going to use for your calories. But I didn't. It ended up all in my nice white Grip Performance singlet and down my arm, and it was gone. And after about 30 seconds, maybe a minute of panic, thinking, what am I going to do? Um, I went back to what I practiced, and I looked ahead, and I knew on course that they were having Gatorade Endurance. I don't like sports drinks per se, but I also trained with it, knowing that if something does go wrong, I have at least trained, I have at least practiced with it, and honestly, my stomach tolerated it quite well when I trained with it. So instead of being disappointed and thinking that my race is over, I went to drinking Gatorade Endurance at every aid station that had it. And I was able to get around the course that way. So the point being that race day, something always goes wrong, always. And you need to be prepared. You want to be prepared mentally for the best, but you also got to be realistic and prepared for things that can go wrong. And in this situation, I was quite thankful that I did use the Gatorade Endurance and some of my training, and it paid off, and it ended up well, actually. And then the third point is I went in and on my watch, I wanted to go on kind of a low information diet. And what I mean with that was I didn't have any information to me on my watch. I didn't know my pace. I didn't know my heart rate. I didn't know anything. I didn't know my cadence, nothing. I went in and my goal, never mind a time goal, I said, forget about that. But I went on strictly effort. And if I'm going to be happy and proud of one thing, I'm just going to go on effort that day. And if I fail miserably, I fail. But I was willing to try it, and honestly, it was quite amazing how consistent my heart rate was throughout the entire race. I was able to keep it consistent, and I raced a very even race just by going on feel. So it can be done, but that was my plan going in. And all in all, it turned into quite a positive day. Um, Quite funny actually, but I did end up getting, I don't know if this is going to show up, I was able to snag this, which was the third overall, and as it says, the third overall woman. But So I'm assuming that the third place woman got the third overall man trophy as well. But it was good. It was a good day. It was a very successful day, and also I was really proud of my friend. I went down there with a good friend Curtis, who did a personal best down there despite the heat. And I know he doesn't like the heat, but he did it despite the heat, and it was a great time. And so we had a lot of fun. But the three takeaways from this race that I will give to you are attitude. Treat everything, every race as if it's important. Don't pack any in before it even begins. They all matter. Two, calories. Find out what they have on course and practice. Might not be your favorite, but practice with some of it just in case a disaster does happen and you have to rely on their nutrition. Point number three, it doesn't always have to be a timed goal. Like I said, mine was strictly effort. And if nothing else that day, I wanted to finish and be proud of my effort. And with that, I was. It turned out to be a good time for me, a good placing for me. But to be honest, it was all about the effort that day. And with that, I was happy. So that'll be it for today. I'll be back next week again. You can find me again. And if you do have anything that you want discussed that I can discuss in just a matter of a few minutes, just email me, call me, whatever, and I'll try to cover it for you. Okay? So hopefully you got a lot out of this, and we will talk to you shortly. Awesome.